The site, you're looking at 20 miles from me to you up to where you're at, North Carolina?
Yeah, exactly right on. Very impressive, sir. I can hear you loud and clear.
What's going on?
Hey man, doing good. How you all doing?
The only thing I would dig these guys on is
Thanks guys, talk to you later.
That was Jared from 2 Alpha Solutions.
secure, short and long range, reliable, easy to use for people who are not radio savvy, doesn't have GPS, and affordable. These are all some things in a communication system I think we could all agree on is pretty badass. Is it possible? Is it feasible? Let's take a closer look. I was pretty stoked to hear about this thing a month or so ago, and I was excited to be able to bring it out and test it here locally, as well as with my buddy Jared, 2 Alpha Solutions, and Randall and Grunt Proof all the way in California. So here in the tri-state area of northern Georgia, western North Carolina, and eastern Tennessee, southeastern Tennessee anyways, up in Virginia, and all the way out to the Sierra Nevadas in California. So this thing is pretty wild. It's pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and break it out. So here it is right here. Rapid radio. Runs you about $200 a piece, and it goes down a little bit more if you're buying more than just 2. So these things, man, they are awesome, and I want to give you some scenarios for where they're good at. I'm going to tell you the bad things about it, the things that I don't like about the rapid radio setup. You can think of like the old Nextel network if you're about my age, right, where you could just push to talk. So it does use the LTE network. That is both a pro and a con, and we'll talk about that right now. So the pro is it uses all of the networks that are out there, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, all of them.
Nationwide secure talking as long as the towers are up. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean you're still relying on the cell network, on the LTE side of it. But once that infrastructure is in place, I mean it works good for what it is. Yeah, no doubt. Even in cases where that cell service goes down,
it comes back up pretty quickly.
Even look at what last week AT&T, like they may have had an outage,
but the shit came back up pretty quick.
Say you're connected to AT&T and AT&T drops out, like it did last week. So it'll go in the roaming mode at that point, and then another carrier, such as Verizon or T-Mobile or whoever, picks it up and puts it into the infrastructure that way.
Yeah, very cool.
Right. So here lately we had a outage with AT&T, right? And these things were still working because it's utilizing all of the networks that are out there. Here you can see I have 4 bars of 4G service. Let's look at my phone. And here I got 2 bars of service on the phone because I have T-Maybe and I don't have great service here. This is probably picking up on the Verizon network, and you can see it's only 49 degrees. That's why you can't see my breath. So it's robust. People are going to say, oh, but it's using the cell phone network. Yes, it's using the cell phone network. And another positive thing that these radios has is the quality of the transmission, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly right on. Yeah, I mean you're still relying on the cell network.
If you're using a HF or VHF radio, maybe it is the old Baofeng classic.
Baofeng.
You have any distance between you and that distant end, you're going to hear a lot of static in the transmission. With these radios, as long as you have a bar of service, you're going to hear some pretty crystal clear service.
Yes, sir. Virginia.
On the site, you're looking at 20 miles from me to you up to where you're at, North Carolina?
Yeah, exactly right on.
This is Spartan 7, main Spartan 7, half mile out, 1 mile out, 2 miles out, say again, 3 miles out.
Randall's all the way on the west coast.
California. 4
miles out, 5 miles out, Spartan main, Spartan 7, from 9 miles out.
When you guys get up to Sawyer's, can you hit me up?
Absolutely. I'll be sure to do it while I'm there. I am inside a fully metal-clad building, and I just had
To drive around for about 5
minutes to be able to reach out. You're out there, but it's still working there.
So it does have some cons. If all the cell networks go down, then this isn't good for you. However, pause for dramatic effect. This should be, in my opinion, a part of a PACE plan, right? You should have multiple modes of transportation when it comes to communication, and utilizing the LTE network is good. So why is that a good thing that it utilizes the LTE network? Well, it uses all of them. So maybe you're a business owner and you want to be able to communicate with everybody, but everybody has different cell phone providers. This thing is not going to care. And there's no monthly subscription fees, there's no cost or anything like that. After the first year, it's $50 a radio, but that's, you know, in the big scheme of things, that's not that bad. Plus, you count only $200 a radio setup. Well, now you're talking about something that is extremely affordable, because you're not only able to talk locally, you're able to talk nationwide. So maybe you are not a business owner, maybe you're in a community group, right? Yeah, it is cool, you know, and having multiple radios, you know, whether it's a family or a small community group, being able to reach out and touch everybody if you needed something, pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And you want to literally have a radio sitting on your kitchen counter at the house while you're off working, and you want somebody at the house to be able to communicate with every single person in your group and know that they're going to get it. And it's so easy to use. All you have to do is push a button. When you first turn this thing on, it's going to log into your network. It may take a second depending on how good your service is. And where service isn't, like, it's not magic. Gotcha. I mean, a couple dead spots isn't bad. I mean, line of sight, you're looking at 20 miles from me to you up to where you're at, North Carolina.
Yeah, exactly right on.
Right, it's not going to work if there's no service. Where I'm at here, I have about 1 bar of service. We'll see how much service we get here in a second, specifically with where I'm standing at right now. So there's an area up in North Carolina that was a dead spot. I couldn't get anything there, but 200 meters away from there was some service. So there's still that there as well. So again, you know, you have a community group. Let's get a quick check on where everybody's at.
Well, I'm here between the plane and Old Blue Ridge Highway.
You're coming in a little broken but readable.
Roger that. I am at my house. I am inside a fully metal-clad building. Very impressive, sir.
So if we can just continue this, then I think that'll be a really good test. Got your ears on?
I can hear you loud and clear.
When you guys get out there to Sawyer's, can you hit me up?
Absolutely. I'll be sure to do it while I'm there. Man, I appreciate us all calling in and seeing how badass these things are to talk 3 points across the state, and not just, you know, the town. So that's good shit.
And you're trying to establish some communication infrastructure for everybody to be able to communicate. Being able to just push the button, it's talking right now, is money, because nobody has to know how to program a radio. Nobody has to be concerned or worried that they are going to somehow change the frequency. And when you push to talk, everybody is listening. In addition, if you wanted, you could do radio to radio, and that is super easy to do, just doing a couple menus. Instead of talking to the entire group, you can talk to a specific radio. That way everybody doesn't have to hear it. Let's talk about some more pros in this thing. It's encrypted, which means you could say anything that you want on this radio, and nobody, unless you're tied into the encryption on this group, is going to be able to hear it. There's no GPS, right? That's pretty badass. There's no way this thing is not communicating with towers until you hit the push to talk, which means nobody can track your location of the radio. Now you may say, oh, well, you know, they are going to be able to triangulate you. Well, let's talk about who they is. The they is not you, it's not me, it's not your county sheriff's department, it's not your city police department, it is not your state agencies, highway patrol and SWAT teams and all that crap. And it's only going to be maybe a couple 3-letter agencies and a small percentage of the DOD, right? A small fraction of the DOD. But they don't care They don't even know that you exist. They barely know that I exist because I publish videos on YouTube. But they don't know that you exist unless you're out there advertising who you're about, what you're about, and if those things are a threat to them and their existence. Does that make sense? So what would it take to actually triangulate one of these radios? So if I push the talk, I'm now sending out a frequency. The thing is that frequency is hidden in the mix of every other cell phone that's operating right now. So I have a cell phone in my pocket. Guess what? It's sending out in the same band as this radio. So only if you were looking for spurious transmissions, and only if you knew when to look, could you see that there was even something being transmitted, and then maybe you could triangulate it. But let's get real, man. That's some freaking that's a SHTF wet dream stuff, to think that somebody's going to do that to you. So I'm going to put that as a pro in this, that it is using the LTE network, because you're hiding in plain sight. This thing, I think, is pretty awesome. I will say that there's one thing that I do not like about this radio. And I think if they made this one change to this radio, they could probably double the price for what these radios cost. The only thing I would dig these guys on is the quality of the radio itself. You know, it
feels like a freaking toy. And I think if it was rugged, like, they could probably double the price for it.
Yeah, and I noticed a charging port on the bottom exposed.
Oh, that makes it not waterproof anymore. Man, I appreciate us all calling in and seeing how badass these things are to cause 3 points across the state, and not just, local towns. So it's good shit.
So it's obviously not waterproof, and it's not rugged. Like, it's just a hard plastic shell. If it was in a ruggedized frame, I think that these guys could get, and then that way it could be grunt proof, right? But just imagine, right? You're off at work, you're running some errands, and somebody's approaching your house, and you want your wife to be able to contact somebody without even thinking about it. You don't even have to think about dialing numbers, or opening apps and pushing numbers and hitting groups or whatever. All you have to do is push the button, and everybody who has this radio is listening. The other good thing about this radio is the batteries are going to last. They've lasted me 4 to almost 5 full days on a full charge. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty long lasting. That's longer than a Baofeng, the old Bo Fun, the China Classics, which, by the way, I just had somebody from China try to hack my website. Like, get the hell out of here. I'm drinking your commie tears, bitches. So, man, I don't know. I'm looking forward to continue to testing this thing out. With my community here, with my family here. I got 6 of these radios. We're going to use them here at the Stoked Land Nav course and all the other training courses that we're going to provide here, and continue to utilize them long range as well.
What about your Stoker radio thing? What's going on?
Hey man, doing good. How you all doing? All right, for now it's just high winds and heavy rain. Got some rain down here. How you looking up there in your part, Jared? Well, it was sunny this morning. It's starting to get a little overcast right now. And I'm working in a t-shirt today, so it's not too bad. It's about 55 degrees.
That was Jared from 2 Alpha Solutions.
You in Virginia, Jared?
Yes, sir. Virginia.
And Randall's all the way on the West Coast.
California. And I just had to
Drive around for about 5
minutes to be able to reach out. You're out there, but it's still working there.
So when you look at shortwave communication systems, whether you're talking about using the UHF or VHF bands, cheap and easy to get into, right? You can pick up a Baofeng or a GMRS radio for less than $50. but you're limited because of ground propagation that those bands use to line of sight and even decreased distances if you're looking through vegetation and terrain like what we have here. Out of a 50-watt radio here in my area, I can hit back to my house at 10 miles away.
Maine, this is Spartan 7, from 9 miles out. Right, gonna head into town for a mile turnaround. Maine, Spartan 7, 12 miles out.
Right? That's not all that good. Now, of course, you could say, oh, well, man, you just got to hit a repeater. Well, that sounds great, but if you don't have a repeater up, it's not going to do you any good. So you could invest, $300-400 in setting up some repeaters, and maybe you want to get high-speed, low drag and make a linked repeater system. You could do that. But again, the use, now you have to have some smart cards, some cut sheets for those radios for people who are not radio savvy to be able to pick up and use and know how to do that, right? If you want to think about more long-range communications, now you're talking about HF comms. And these are not going to be cheap or affordable to get into, and they're going to have a higher learning curve. So that is a possibility, but again, and we'll talk more about PACE plans in a subsequent video, you want to be thinking about all transmission modes. But the one good thing that this has is it's affordable, it's easy to use. Your child could pick up this radio and say, I need help, or mom just hurt herself, or dad just hurt himself. And everybody in your community, whether it's just your immediate family, or whether it's a community group, can hear that and initiate action. Pretty awesome. I think. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and your comments down below about this radio, and we'll continue. I will keep continuing to report back to you with my experience with these things, and we'll keep the conversation rolling. As always, until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Roger that. Talk to y'all later. Cunt proof out.
Right on. Stay stoked.
We know you're out there! Come to my voice!
Team, if you want to master your craft and develop your tactical virtue, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on future content. Consider becoming a channel member. It's going to give you exclusive access to content not available to anybody else. I appreciate you guys. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.